Hi everyone, welcome to RPA Explorers
If you
channel.
watched my previous part 3 where I have completely explained each and every activity which we build for this use case, and also almost we have completed the logic, so we just have to complete our end process. Okay, so here to complete our end process, so completing our end process is nothing but you have to, like, before you start your application you will be clearing all the application you use, right? So similarly, after you process everything, make sure that you clear all the process whichever you have used so far. So let me take this skill apps activity which I'm going to use it. So this basically just kill the app and make sure that the process is good for the next process which will be running on that particular desktop or your VM. Okay, so I'm not going to have any additional logic. I'm just simplifying it with this skill apps activity. So if you want to add an output report, let me also show you. So after you complete your pick and process RPA, what you can do is you can go to your toolbox. You can go to your Excel method, and let me double click, and so you can set a column. Okay, basically you can set a column or your set cell value. So here you can use this set cell value to set a cell value, like you can give the status, like you can create a new column called status on the sheet 1. Okay, and this should be on the cell name H1. So here provide H1 and then provide sheet name as sheet 1 over here. So once you set your sheet, you do not have to do it every time. It will be placed in the place where you are reading your Excel. So here this has to be placed over here basically before you close it. So before you are closing it, have that set cell value, and that will be adding your additional column. So after that, make sure that you create a separate activity in which have these logic which I am going to tell you. And this is basically to have the status of each work item rather than going and checking your queue work item every time. And this report which you can send as an email attachment at your end process. Okay, so here what you can do is take this set row values, and here you can use this set row value. So like you have to define the column, and in my case the column will be H, right? So in the H column, basically you have to create a separate row number. Like what you can do is you can initialize the row number to be 0 here, and inside the pick process work item just increment it. So that variable you have to map it over here. So every time you write it in the H column, write your response content, which is the actual response content, and that's it, you are good to go. In that way it will be writing each value on the status column. And that you can use my Outlook connector method, sent email, and you can send that report as an output attachment. And I'm not going to deal all these, as I have explained all these concepts in many of my videos required in real-time automation. You can make use of it. And also if you have any doubt or any comments about it, let me know your thoughts in the comment as well. I'll be replying to all of you. Okay, now let's complete this. Now I'm just going to simply run this particular activity, which is process and update work item. So let me start from here and let's see what's happening. Okay, actually I do not, as initialization was done in the init part, I'm manually opening the application and let's see. Okay, this is successful as the page is loaded over here, and let's move on next. Okay, now you can view the request content over here. Okay, here it should be mapped to the variable which we missed, so let me quickly do it. Okay, it take the item which is called Jan. Okay, now it started picking it, so let's see. Okay, I think it is very fast, so it literally completed and clicked on submit. Let's go over here and let's check it. Okay, as we do not have any issues, So it validated if it have any business exceptions or not. So no, it is not an application exception. Now the item is marked as success. Let's see. Okay, now it is completely it is completed and it is marked the item as success, and you will not have any response content as well. I think we will not have to. So for the successful, for whenever the case is success, I do not want to add any response content, so I'm just removing my response content here. And now let's keep the let's remove the breakpoint so that we can view it, and let's quickly, let's see. Okay, it's filling out. Okay, I think it's very fast. Okay, let's go back to the code. Okay, so it has completed everything, and also we have an application exception, it seems. So let's see. So the application exception, what's the global response content? Okay, review data. The component decision failed, parameter digit value cannot be null or empty. Okay, the component decision failed. So let's go. Okay, this got failed. So as I mentioned, whenever there is an issue, try catch will capture it, and you can weave the exact message on the work item as well. I think this will be for the last item, which is yes. So if you have watched my part 2, I think part 1, where I have explained why we have this item, and that is the reason that it is giving us the exact message. And yes, you can see that the component decision failed to execute, but this should be of type application, not business exception. So let's check. This is good. So bot has done what it's supposed to do. Okay, here whenever there is an application exception, I am not changing to application. So let me change it to application, so that the bot completed everything as we expected. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to completely run the whole process, and before which let's disable it. In that way, bot will be able to create the same item again with the same name, right? If I'm making just false, it will not create it, as we have created the same name already. Okay, that's the reason. I'm going to close my Excel instance, don't save it, and let's completely run the process now. Let's go to the queue and validate. So it should have 21 items. So let's see. Okay, now it has opened the Excel. Let's wait for some time. Okay, we have a breakpoint. So let me remove it and I'll quickly run it. Okay, 13. So 11 plus 10 should be 21 items. Let's see. Okay, so now Excel is, the items are created, and I see the Excel is also closed now. Let's see. Okay, now it started filling up each fields. And this time every item should be success. So let's see. And also after processing each item, Excel, everything will be closed, as we have used kill operations in the end process as well. Okay, it closed everything. Let's go back to the bot and you see everything is good. And also let's view the console log. So as we have added the log message, you can see that no pending items found. I think it started from here. Killing used application, launching the website. It launched the website successfully and it started creating. Work items have been created and it started processing. Work item is updated. So I'll be able to see all the exact message. And also I think it would be better if I have some log message before I start the process. So let me say that it start processing. Okay, RPA challenge started, and also at the end I'll be saying RPA challenges. I'll copy it and I'll paste it in the okay, but this doesn't matter. Let's go to the queue and see. Let's filter with started. Okay, so all the items got successful except the one which got failed in the last one. So this in progress was basically on the part 1 video which we tested. Okay, I think everything is good now let's manually try to throw an application exception and a business exception. Basically in our case, whenever the phone number is not 10 digit or it's less than 9 digit, I am throwing a business exception. So here you can validate it. So in this time let's have very less items, like just 2, and let's say A, and let's say okay, and I'm going to have one of duplicate. So second is my business exception, which is P, and for an application exception let me manually throw it. So for the application exception to be achieved after the application is launched, I want to close my application. I want to divert the page. So basically once the application is loaded, I just want to divert the page, so that way it will not find the first name, last name and everything, and it get failed, right? So let's do that, and before that we'll clear the logs and we'll start running it now. Let's go to the queue and it should be 23. So yeah, let me filter with created. Okay, so we have 2 items, A Smith and B Dorsey. Okay, this is expected. Let me remove the filter. Okay, and now in order to achieve this, so I'll go to the different window called shortest path. Okay, now we have a different screen, so the bot should fail now, but let's see. Okay, let's be on the page. So it is basically waiting for the page to load again. Let's see. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, now the bot has completed, and if you see that it did not go to the next block as the screen itself was not found, right? So if I refresh the page, it will be failure. Okay, this is correct, failed, and it is of type application exception, and here you can read that the set text failed to execute in that activity. So as we have moved our page to a different screen, the first activity, which is the set text component method, right? So it got failed and we have the expected error message. This is good. And now let's see what's happening with the main item, and let me go over here. Okay, got it. So let me maybe I'll just try to replicate the same error again by creating a separate item. So basically, what was happening is that the bot, if you remember that I was continuing the bot and it came over here, it got filled. So it started picking the next item, and it got updated as well. So if you remember that I clicked on move next, and that is the reason that the first item failed with set text not found on the first name. So this is good. And this wait for screen is again trying to find that particular page even after updating the status. So as the particular item was already updated by the bot, it is trying to update it again for the second error, which is that particular page was not found. Already we have one more item, right? So let's say that I want to let's make it a string digit and let's enable. I'm going to click on a different tab. So I'll go with the small search. Okay, now it is trying to find that particular screen, and let's see what's the result. Now let's see. So since this particular page is not found, okay, since it is not found and we do not have any actions on the else part, it is directly going back to the main activity, which is this process and pick work item. And now if you go to the queue, the item will be still in pending as it doesn't go to the pick work item. So you can see the 3 items are in pending. Let me click move next. Okay, let's go here. And now this is when the error occurs. Work item ID cannot be empty as because it did not move to the pick work item, and we have that error. So what you can do is like I can have this pick work item and then I can wait for my screen to be loaded. In that way, even there is any error before it picked the item, we will be having the work item and request content stored in the global the global variables. So let me do that way. And also we are going to remove this and we'll connect it. So whenever the screen is not found, I say that there would be some application exceptions. So I'm just mapping to this over here, but the response content will be empty. So if required, we can have the application response content separately. So let's say app. So whenever the page is not found, I want to say that RPA page is not found. Okay. So to the else block, I want to add this. Let me add it, and here itself I'll map the variable, which is global application exception, and we'll map the response content over here. Okay, now let's rerun the process and we'll see what's happening now. And let's see, it will be creating 3 more items. Okay, as I said, it has created 3 more items. Okay, now let's pick the item. I'm just going to continue. Let's see. Oh, this time I did not change the application. Okay, for the next item, well, I'll try to switch the application though. Let's go to the mode search, and previous one was from business exception. As you see, it marked the item as business exception and the exception is also correct. Okay, now let's process it with a different screen. So now I have opened a different screen. Okay, let's see the item. So now it is marked the application and the response content is RPA page is not found. So this is expected output now. Okay, in this time I'm just going to, when it is trying to set the item, let me move back to the different page. Okay, let's throw a different kind of business application exception. Okay, Now let's continue the bot. So this should be an application exception, but let's go to the queue and confirm. Okay, application exception, and here you can see the item that web element first name could not be found. Okay, so now without any error, let's process the happiest path. Let's see, I think we should have some business exception as well.
So now that we have completely executed this basic template or the method, how you can initialize and how you can launch your applications, and you can do everything according to your need. If you are creating on your own template, then you can also go with that. It will be pretty same. If you have understand this complete use case, then using that template will be really easy. If possible, try to create a separate use case with that template. So the difference between that template will be like they have a lot of sub activities and separate ways to log your exception, and also they have something some different so they have some additional logic to launch your applications and everything. So make sure that you follow that template as well. So if required, you can also make use of that template and what I have explained in this video. Studio part is completed, like we have tested, and everything is good now. So before you publish your process, then there is something called quality check. So let me click on this before I push it, and it says that there is an error. And okay, let me double click on it. Okay, so whenever you have this infinite loop, it will be giving you this error, but it is not actually an error. As we are looping it, for the best practice, it recommends that you should not looping it, either you can use your other condition. And before you publish, make sure that you check your code quality check. You just use this code quality one, and this is giving me an error. So let's double click on it. I think this would be on my infinite loop. Yes, so whenever if you are having an infinite loop apart from the loop to the bot, it is something not in the standard. So if you want, you can also have an additional logic, but this is something not an actual error. So if you want to remove that particular code quality check as an error, so you can go to your RPA hub list. I think I have explained this in my different video as well, so you can check that out. So here, go to the code quality rules, and here you can make changes, whether you want to set the severity as false or error or whatever it is. Like, you have to go. If we take infinite loop, if you have the required permission, you can change that it should be an info. If I save it, and let me try clicking on code quality check. Yeah, now this is an info. Okay, so this is good. Now let's try pushing it. And also, whenever you're pushing your project, make sure that you just have only one ibot file and all your record file over here. So, and let's publish it. So for publishing a new version, select this new and select your package. Let's say version 2. Okay, this is published successfully. So now you can go to your bot, and if you go to your packages, okay, if I go to the RPA test end use case, I have two versions. So now let's go to the bot process and we'll use the latest version. So okay, I'll go to the bot process. So the one which you get in this RPA hub workspace doesn't get you the latest package always. So I always go into the all and filter with bot process. So here in the package version, search it and choose the one you want. So I want the 2. And also, before publishing it, make sure that you have all the necessary parameter credentials and everything, and then click on publish. So now we have published it. So if you want to start your process, or if you want to have any schedules, so you can have a schedules here. I think it is in publish. Let me keep it in maintenance so that we can create a schedules as well. So going into the schedules, click on new. So here you can give your schedule any name, and you can define your interval type, whether you want to run your process daily or every
on particular date, weekly or monthly or whatever it is, and then choose your time zone. So currently it is in UTC, and here choose start time. So from that time this particular schedule will be active, and every if you choose minute, then you have to provide, for example, every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes I want to run my process, so keep this and then submit it. So automatically the particular process will trigger every 5 minutes. To keep any particular weekly or anything, just choose your target record from here. If you are planning to start your process, click on this start process manually. And currently I'm just using only one mission, which is my mission, and having my RPA hub and studio on the same mission. So let me try clicking on start. I'll go to the process job and will refresh. Okay, if you see that another user is logged into the computer. So as I say, I'm just using single mission, so I'll not be able to run your process. So if you have a different mission to run your process, then you can assign that particular robots and the VM, you can do it. And now to view your logs, you just click on the number you get here, and there you will be able to view, here it will give you all the message, the log level. Basically this message is something, it give you the particular message and this log level. Okay, and I'm not logging any log level here. For example, when we have an error, there are no pending item, so this is an error, right? Let's go to the properties. So here you can define the error, whether it should be a warning, error or exception. So this you can do it, but I'm not doing it. I'm just not taking too much complex this one. If required, you can have an additional parameter, and based on that parameter you can choose your log level, and that particular level will be viewed over here. And here you'll be able to view all your messages, and it has some number like your 1, 2, 3 or the order of your log message. That's it. And here you can view. I have completely covered an end-to-end use case in the use case series. You all watched from part 1 till this one. If so, you will be getting a complete understanding on how you can create your bot process, publish it, and how you can start your process. So make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you guys find this video. Don't forget to like this video to reach more people, and thank you so much for watching this video.